Today we're diving in and comparing the newly upgraded Cosmo 4K SE with the original Cosmo Laser 4K. These are two impressive 4K lifestyle projectors from Anker's projector brand Nebula. These projectors pack some seriously incredible power aimed at delivering an incredible cinema experience either at home or on the go. I'll be taking a look at the key differences between this new SE model versus the original model. From light sources to display quality, I'll put them up against each other with real-world side-by-side tests and image comparisons to see how they truly stack up. This is the Future Space Collective, where we explore the world of products for imagination. As always, deal links and chapter time codes are listed in the description below. So the projectors look nearly identical with a minimalist modern aesthetic. Both models are boxy yet compact with rounded corners and a matte black silvery finish that's sleek and subtle in any setting. Integrated side vents provide efficient cooling, and each has a sturdy silicone-wrapped handle for easy carrying. It sort of accomplishes feeling both rugged, portable, and premium all at the same time. With the original Cosmo 4K, you have to install the included dongle, as you see here, into the back. Whereas on the new SE model, there's no pop-out back or anything. It now seems to be built right into the unit and unremovable or unreplaceable. We also see the addition of an extra HDMI port on the SE model with HDMI 2.1 and eARC as well if you plan to use that. So these are the remotes here. They're pretty similar, the original remote and the new remote with the Cosmo 4K SE. See, this one's a little bit sleeker, button design's a little bit different. This one's a little bit more pill-shaped, a little bit smaller. Negligible differences really, they're both gonna do the same thing. Okay, so the new Nebula Cosmo 4K SE brings several exciting upgrades. Unlike its predecessor, the SE combines LED and laser technology, offering what Nebula is calling a hybrid beam light source with a quoted 1800 ANSI lumens. This is sort of a standardized rating of brightness. The brightness rating, however, comes in a bit lower than the original model, which has a brighter output rating of 2200 ANSI lumens. The SE also features some upgraded image processing, supporting Dolby Vision now, along with HDR10 that the original one supported. The SE also now runs on Google TV as opposed to Android TV, allowing direct streaming in 4K from Netflix and other app providers without needing an additional device. Lastly, we also see Nebula has upgraded their intelligent environment adaptation tools, there's a mouthful, which are essentially features that help you automatically optimize your projected image. So these are things like auto screen fit, focus, keystone, and wall color adaptation, which is a new thing, which I guess sort of compensates for the wall color if you're pointing it at something that's not a white screen. Alrighty, so now that we've laid out the key differences of both these projectors, let's move on to actually testing how the real-world image results of these projectors compare with each other in the controlled environment of my studio here. The camera exposure settings will remain locked to showcase the differences in picture. As well, we're gonna set those picture profiles to be the same on each projector, maximizing their brightness and output. Let's dive in.
Alrighty, so we're gonna start with the white screen projection. The camera has been manually white balanced to this white screen for each projector to give us an even color comparison. In terms of sheer brightness output, they do appear to look quite similar. However, from the technical chart, which is called a waveform monitor, we can see the original Cosmos is a bit brighter and outputting a bit more light, as that top arch reaches just a little bit higher on that chart, and perhaps with just a slightly more even distribution of this projected light. Okay, so we're starting off with my favorite 4K demo video that I have. It does a great job at testing the RGB color rendering of each projector. This is just a standard 4K video file with no inbuilt HDR formatting. You'll see I've included at the top at all times the different type of video format that's being played. So starting with the reds, you can see the original Cosmos 4K is very bright and punchy. It's particularly very hot in the reds and leaning slightly into the orange tone. Whereas with the new SE model, the color has definitely improved, especially in this reds department. Taking a look at some of the green shots now, things I'd say are a lot more even when it comes to the green rendering. However, still a little bit more accurate on the SE model, a little bit more yellowish in that original laser model. All right, we're moving into the blues now. Again, not too drastic of a difference, a bit of a brighter image in the original model as expected, but the blues look great on both models. No complaints. So this is one of my favorite shots with the t-shirts. You can really get a feel for how the colors are rendered. And we really see the SE pulling ahead in terms of the accuracy of those colors. The reds even tend to look a bit blown out in terms of the dynamic range available. So overall, you'll start to see a trend here, specifically when playing back regular video footage. Out of the box, the original Laser 4K is a brighter, punchier image with more contrast and saturation, whereas the new SE model with its hybrid light beam source gives us a more refined image with better color accuracy and dynamic range. Depending on the content or even the shot, one projector may look better than the other and favor that brighter, more saturated image out of the box, or having the more accurate colors when it comes to skin tones and the like. Moving forward, as we see in this example here, where again we don't have any inbuilt HDR standards in our movie's playback, we see the Laser 4K is the better image in some cases and not so much in others. Okay, so now we're moving on to comparing our next movie, which is in HDR10 format on both projectors. It seems we lose a little bit of brightness in this mode on both projectors, although similarly to our non-HDR format, we can still see the original Laser 4K pulling ahead when both sources are in this HDR10 mode, as it did in the previous mode without any HDR profile. We get that brighter, more contrasted image, whereas on the SE, we're getting a slightly dimmer image with better colors. And again, like I've been saying, it just depends on the content you're watching to determine what will look the best to your eye. Again, I should state this is the out-of-the-box standard picture profile, and you can go in and tweak the color settings to kind of fix the issues a bit with the Laser 4K. Although I will say I am quite impressed how the new SE does handle the colors right out of the box. Okay, so we're gonna move on now to a few different films where we're testing out the new Dolby Vision capability on the SE versus the same movie in HDR10 on the original Laser 4K, since only the new SE now has that support for Dolby Vision. And man, let me tell you, this is where the story really changes and we really start to see the new SE pull ahead in every way now in terms of brightness, dynamic range, and color accuracy. Again, this is specifically only when playing Dolby Vision content versus the same content in HDR10. So I've lined up a few different movies here where this is the case, where I have it in both Dolby Vision and I have it in HDR10. Okay, coming out of this sort of higher paced action sequence, we're gonna flip now to a slower, more dimly lit, more darker sequence, where you can see how the colors are rendered a lot differently. Now again, this could come down to personal taste, but I do tend to find if you can get a movie in Dolby Vision and play it back on the SE, you will get quite a nice result from it. To really exemplify this, for my last movie example, we're taking a look at one of my new personal favorites, which is an animated film. Because all the graphics are film-like CGI, this really provides a great opportunity to showcase the differences between the Dolby Vision and the HDR10 mode on each projector. We can see for sure the story has flipped as the SE greatly pulls ahead to be the best of both worlds now, having that brighter, more vivid, more saturated image, but also with that improved color accuracy coming from that new hybrid beam technology. I was quite surprised by this result personally, how much better it did with that Dolby Vision content versus the HDR content. It really popped off the screen when I was watching it in person. However, do note this was the only scenario where there was objectively a clear winner. You'll see now as we go back to the same video formats on each projector by hopping over to YouTube and finding some true 4K 60 HDR content, playing back the same video on each projector. The results are the same as we saw before. A brighter, more contrasty, vivid overall image from the original Laser 4K on the right, and on the left from the Cosmos 4K SE, we see a more refined image with better color accuracy and better dynamic range in the highlights to shadows at the expense of being a slightly less bright image. Given the fact I will probably be using the projector, personally I do much prefer the image on the new Nebula Cosmos 4K SE. I think that dynamic range is really a nice selling point, and that color accuracy has really been dialed in. This doesn't mean, however, it's going to be the best choice for you. But let's jump over now to my final thoughts and opinions to make sense of all the results that we've just seen. They're both great machines that share a lot of their foundational features. Great sounding built-in speakers, portability, durability, similar weight and size, throw ratio with a large 60 to 200 inch projection screen size. Starting with the original Laser 4K, this is still the brighter projector, albeit not by too much. Out of the box, playing regular 4K content, this will give a more vivid, contrasty image that will appear to just pop right off the screen. On the other hand, the new SE model, featuring that hybrid light source from both an LED and a laser, gives us more accurate color rendering and better dynamic range. That is more detail in the shadows and highlights versus the original Laser 4K, but this is at the expense of a bit less light output. On top of everything else, the SE has updated more of the auto IEA features, switched over to Google TV, and updated the remote with light up buttons. It's worth mentioning Nebula is running a huge promo for Black Friday, so check out those deal links in the description below. So which is the one you should buy? Well, if you plan to view in the daytime or simply want the brightest projector, the original Cosmos Laser 4K may just have that edge you're looking for. Otherwise, for almost everything else, I think Nebula has done a great job with the new SE version, addressing any of those issues with that original Laser 4K version, making it a clear winner and certainly a top contender in its category of 4K lifestyle projectors, which I've covered quite a few now. Speaking of which, those videos should be popping up on the screen, so go ahead and give one of those a click, and I'll see you over there in the next one.